All right, so we are recording, and welcome to Get Organized Now. This is a training that's very focused on helping you understand what stops you from getting stuff done and being organized and being focused as a solopreneur. So the way the training's going to go is I'm going to just cover the high level stuff to give you kind of like a good idea as far as what's in the worksheet and how to tackle this yourself. And then I'm going to open this up to hot seat coaching so we can get right down to the nitty gritty. All right, so this is being recorded and it's going to be part of Happy Club, the snack size workshop. So let's go ahead and get started. So when I was thinking about this, so Michelle, you obviously inspired this whole topic, which I thank you for that, because it really made me take time to sit down and look at, well, what are the obstacles and challenges for solopreneurs around getting organized and getting started and getting things done in our business, right? So what you're going to get out of this training is you're going to get a 6-step process, which is included in the worksheet, for creatively organizing the things you need to get done, right? Pretty simple. You're going to also distinguish between your strengths and weaknesses so you know where to delegate. And then you're also going to know, what you're going to get the tools on what you need to focus on now and where the priorities are, so you can actually move things forward. Because one of the biggest challenges as solopreneurs, and I laugh because I deal with this myself, is that we have so much to do. We look at everything, and what ends up happening is, because we're seeing it all, we're kind of like going, oh my gosh, I'm paralyzed, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to focus on. I've got to deal with bookkeeping, sales, taking care of clients, marketing. Oh my gosh, it's overwhelmed, right? So it's totally understandable why for solopreneurs, we have especially a bigger challenge when it comes to dealing with this. The other things that keep us from being better organized, focused, and getting things done is we lack a business strategy, and we don't know what matters most. So we end up leveling out everything. Everything matters, right? And that's where we get overwhelmed and we don't know where to focus because we feel that everything is a priority, okay? And then the other thing we do, which is I am a classic violator of this, is we do busy work of things we enjoy doing, and we think we're being productive and moving things forward, when in fact, we're keeping ourselves from doing the things that are most important to us. And then lastly is we are afraid to ask for help. And this is a huge thing with solopreneurs, because a lot of us will get stuck with two major things when it comes to asking for help. One is I can't afford it. And two, I don't have the time to teach somebody how to do it. It's easier for me to do it myself. And then of course, finding the resource, right? So those are the main challenges that we face as solopreneurs to get stuff done. So when you think about that in your life, you can see, oh, well, of course, I'm not getting anything done. Those all like check, check, check. That's me, So I like to use the analogy, and I do this in my Friday morning coaching mastermind. I suggest the idea of coaching around what is the pebble in your shoe. So if there's something that you're not getting done, if there's something that's bugging you, that's stopping you, it's kind of like this nagging thing. It's like having a pebble in your shoe. And depending on what that thing is, it could be a little thing that, you like, I need to take the trash out, right? It's real minor, so it's barely noticeable. Or it's something like, oh my gosh, I'm late on my tax return. I have to, really deal with this. That's a pretty big pebble, right? Because, you probably get fines. You have to deal with it. You got to get all these records together. It's like this big thing you just don't want to deal with. So using the pebble in your shoe analogy, what I like to do is kind of classify it in those areas. So when you're looking at prioritizing, think of it as, how big is that pebble in my shoe? And when you use the analogy of pebble in your shoe, it's like nagging at you, but it's unresolved. It is something that makes you a bit pissed off, but still nothing gets done. And we have a tendency to blame other things or other people or other circumstances for why we're not getting it done. And then we also allow it to get bigger and bigger until it really starts becoming a problem. So these are all symptoms and challenges that we have as solopreneurs in getting stuff done. So what I want to do now is I want to give you a high-level overview of what's in the worksheet, which is the 6-step process for going through and getting yourself organized. Now, some of you may be familiar with some of these steps or have actually tried them yourselves. And what I've found is cohesively working all together, all 6 steps, will really give you some distinctions and some powerful breakthroughs in your way of being when it comes to being organized, getting things done, delegating, prioritizing, focusing, all of those things that can enable you to be a super powerful and successful solopreneur. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go through those real quick with you. And then what I'll do is I will open it up for open hot seat coaching. Yes, my favorite. All right, so step 1, and this is something that people think they have a grasp on, and they really don't. And it's identifying your thing. Now, things are tasks, actions, behaviors, stuff that you need to do that require time, attention, money, delegation, all of the things that we need to do. They're not necessarily the tasks, they're the things, right? So when you distinguish them from tasks, like the action of getting it done, and look at the thing, you look at more of the result or the outcome you're trying to achieve. So that's a nice subtle shift. Instead of looking at the task, you're looking at the outcome. So start there when you're looking at identifying what these things are. What is the outcome you're trying to accomplish? Now, sometimes the outcome can be a long tail outcome, like, well, I want to have more clients. Well, that can be a lot of steps right in front of that to actually get that done. So this will help you clarify the outcomes you want, and then you can break it down into doable steps that make it a lot easier for you to just kind of pick at it and just get it done. And then that is what's going to help you focus and get organized, because you know you're going to an outcome, right? So identifying the things is what's most important in step number 1. Step number 2, step number 1 is like preparing for 2 and 3, okay? And 2 and 3 is what's different and new in my process versus other get organized and task prioritization matrices, or matrices, I think is the proper plural form of that. And so the second step is to measure. So if you take all of those things, right? So on your worksheet, it's the next page. You take all of those things, or at least the ones that are the biggest pebbles in your shoe. And what you want to do is you want to evaluate and assess each on the joy scale. Now, I created the joy scale, and that's all about what is the level of enjoyment that you're going to take away from doing the task or getting that thing accomplished. And why this is so important is a lot of times, this is so like in your face, a lot of times we don't do stuff because we just don't really want to do it. Like, I don't think I'm going to have fun doing that. I really just don't want to deal with it, right? So we write it off, we cover it up with busy work, we find excuses, we just let that pebble get bigger and bigger. So identifying where it sits on the joy scale can really help you go, oh, well, that's why it's not getting done. I just am not interested in doing that thing at all, right? So that's going to feed into a later step. So that's the second step. The third step is another measurement, and that is the confidence to delegate scale. So if you have something on your list of things and outcomes and stuff you need to do, and you really don't have confidence in delegating it, that's going to also prevent you from dealing with it. So those two things, the joy scale and the confidence to delegate, are two really, really important things. They're going to help you prioritize. So it's very, a lot of what I work with my Pappy Club members and clients is all about bringing in emotion into how you conduct yourself in your business, because we're solopreneurs, we're the source of everything, right? We're the expert, we're the driver of all the decisions, we're the ones that take care of our clients. And these things are super, super important for us to pay attention to. So a lot of us dismiss the emotional part when it's actually getting in the way of us getting stuff done, okay? So those are two things for you to measure. Now, what that's gonna do is that's gonna help you see your prioritization is actually gonna start bubbling up to the top. So this is good informing for your later steps. So this next step, some of you may already be familiar with, some of you already may be using this, is to take those and move them into your Eisenhower matrix. So because they've kind of already been sort of organized, you've already identified, what is the thing that I'm giving enough joy to? What is the thing that I'm really okay delegating if I kind of just figured it out myself? And on your worksheet, there's much deeper questioning that you can explore when you do this on your own. And so in addition to the Eisenhower matrix, which is a 4-quadrant matrix based on urgency, importance, I've also added another layer of kind of quadrant qualifiers, which is about how you are looking at the business value of that particular item, the enjoyment factor, that goes back to step 2, which is your joy scale. How easy is it to delegate, right? So that's your confidence in delegating scale. And then assessed need. So is this something you can actually like not even do? And that's something that's really cool. It's like, maybe I don't have to do this. Maybe I'm overcomplicating my outcome that I'm trying to, accomplish. Maybe I just don't even need to deal with that. And that's a powerful way to look at your to-do list. Like, do I really even need to do this? If this didn't happen, would everything still be okay? Would everything still work out? How can I compress the amount of steps I need to get it done and just bang it out, right? So there could be things that you're working on that you can actually do that and like totally simplify the result that you're trying to achieve. So that would be step number 4. Now, after you're not done yet, I still got 2 more steps, right? So you'll really see your to-do list and action items falling out of this super easy. Step number 5 is to take what's on that quadrant that you've gone through those assessments and that you've kind of positioned in there and plan them out, right? So you don't just stop there and go, oh, okay, that's great. I've organized that. I feel better about that. Fully aware of that. Okay, that looks good. No, you got to get them from there and into your calendar. So whether you use a planner or whether you use an actual electronic calendar, like I use my Google Calendar, I use my tasks, and I also use a Franklin planner. And because I'm kind of old school, so I like to write stuff down. And there's the little serotonin or the whatever that chemical is that's released when you check something off, it's like you get that dopamine, you get that high. And so that's what I love to do. I love to check that stuff off. And so step 5 is just scheduling that stuff out. Now, when you do this process, don't take on too much. Okay. And you can actually categorize or niche the areas you want to focus on. And I'll get to that in a second. And then step number 6, which is also really important, is to reassess and adjust and acknowledge your growth. So as you're scheduling these things out, you also want to include a reward system. So when you get things done, and this is included in your worksheet, when you get these things done, you want to like get a payoff, right? Like, I'm going to go get some ice cream, or I'm going to go take an hour nap, or I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to cut out early. Whatever the things that you really enjoy as far as rewards, super important to give yourself a micro reward when you've accomplished a task. I don't care how minute it is, right? It'll be an incentive for you to get it done that much faster, right? So you're adding more joy, you're connecting all the emotions together, and it can be a really empowering thing. And because you get it done, it's one less thing you got to worry about, right? So that pebble in the shoe is gone. And then, so as you're reassessing and acknowledging your growth, it's super important because a lot of these exercises will help surface where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. And weaknesses are not bad things. They're things where you can go, okay, I recognize that that's not something I'm interested in doing. It's not something that I really have a lot of strength in. So maybe I need to look at eliminating it or delegating it. And that's going to make it super powerful for you to kind of like spread this stuff out so it's more doable and visible to you. All right, so those are the 6 steps, and they are included on your worksheet. And so when you want to like tackle this worksheet, sit down and get organized now so you can get stuff done, whether you just get one thing done or whether you get a whole smattering of things done. It's important to be really clear that when you do it is when you feel most overwhelmed, like you're not getting stuff done, you feel pressured, you're like, oh my God, I was supposed to do this, I didn't get it done, I don't know where I'm going to find the time. That's when you sit down and you go through this worksheet, because the emotional side of it is going to make you feel a lot better. You're going to get a lot of relief when you go through the process. And then also you can do it once a month or kind of plan it out. So if it really works for you, which it should, then make it a regular part of your schedule, because you'll be able to stay on top of things that much more powerfully. And then the last thing is, I mentioned this earlier about kind of niching the topic. So how I use this with clients is I coach them around using it for a very specific thing inside their business, such as social media. So if you want to like figure out your social media, it's like, okay, what's important about how I use social media? Right. And I'm not just talking about browsing, I'm talking about things you're posting to promote your business, your services, your products, and so on. And really just build those relationships. So you can use this worksheet for your social media. You can use it for bookkeeping, believe it or not, if there are tasks around, like if you have a lot of heavy transactions and you, or taxes or client, what do you call them? The retainer invoices, things like that, that you really need to stay on top of. You can use it for bookkeeping. You can use it for sales outreach as well. So making sure that, okay, what's most important on my sales? Okay, well, I have this high ticket product that I want to sell, and I'm going to go for low-lying fruit on my prospect list and try to upsell my existing clients or whatever. You can use this worksheet to get that organized, break that down into tasks. And then the other thing is client care, your customer experience, right? Use the worksheet to make sure that you're touching base with your clients on a regular basis, that you're checking in on them. I can't tell you how many times I've reached out to a client during an engagement or even after an engagement just to check in on them, ask them if they're having any challenges, what's going on, how's it working, is it not working? And I end up getting more business, but I'm just calling to check in on them. And so it's a great thing to incorporate into your to-do list. So you're adjusting your routine, you're adding them into your calendar, and these things, because they're already planned, you can take them out of your head. You can remove that pebble from your shoe. And so that is my 6-step get organized now process that includes emotion, acknowledgement of strengths and weaknesses, giving you a platform from end to end on how you can use that in any aspect of your business. You can even use it in your personal life. And it should be a really powerful way for you guys to improve your ability to get stuff done and get better organized and focused on what you're doing. So I hope you enjoyed that training. I'm going to conclude the recording now so I can open it up to a hot seat.